Today we will be looking at the Gentex Commander 3 horn strobe. These devices are pretty common, but didn't take off as much as the system sensor products did. I believe these devices are still being produced today, so you can still find them around from time to time. I really like them, and there's a lot of things that I find really cool about this device. I also have some problems with it that I don't really like, so I thought I'd tell you guys about them, so if you guys want to get a Gentex Commander 3, you guys know what to expect. Let's get started. I will be scoring this alarm today out of 60 points. 30 points will be for practicality and user-friendliness, 20 points will be for notification, and 10 points will be for design. Let's go ahead and do a brief overview of this alarm. So as you can see right here, we have a beauty plate and then the alarm itself. If you take two fingers and press against the logo and pull up, this beauty plate slides off like this. And you have your alarm part, and then if you pull that to the left, that will also slide off the mounting bracket. Then you have your alarm, your beauty plate, and your mounting bracket, and this little circuit board that I'll get to later. The mounting bracket here has 5 terminals right here. It has 2 strobe positives, a strobe negative, and a horn positive and a horn negative. One thing I like about this alarm is you can switch it between 2-wire and 4-wire using the top 2 dip switches right here. If they are in the on position, what will happen is it will be a 2-wire alarm, and if they are in the off position, it will be a 4-wire alarm. Over here on the side is where you can select your candela. You can move this bar up and down to select your different candela settings. Then this logo actually can pop off, which is pretty cool. And you go ahead and take a simple wall screw here, just stick it in there. It should do the job, and this will pop off. This is so a tamper screw can go into the device and go into this little hole in the mounting bracket to keep people from sliding it off the bracket. Things I really like about this alarm. I really like that you can switch it between 2-wire and 4-wire. I think that's really convenient. I do like that you can has like a little slide bar thing for the candela select. I think that's a really neat idea. And I do like the slide-in mounting bracket with the beauty plate that snaps on. I think that's really a wonderful feature, and it makes it very, very easy to install. A couple things I do not like. I do not like these little dip switches. I feel they are too small. I feel like maybe either putting some sort of selection on the back, since there's all this kind of blank space here, or somehow making these switches a little bigger might have been a little more helpful. I also think the 5-wire design is a little strange. It's confusing at first to set up, but that's a very minor thing, so we won't really worry about it. I also don't really like the metal mounting bracket because once it gets bent, it's kind of permanently bent. So that's some things I don't like, but overall it's very easy to use. It's plain and simple a practical alarm. So let's go ahead and give this a 27 out of 30 in practicality. And I forgot to mention this little circuit board that came out of it. This is what's called a continuity tester. This means that when you're installing the alarms, if you have the mounting bracket up but are painting and don't want to install the alarm yet, you can stick this, let me show you. You can stick this in this little slot here where the alarm is supposed to go, so your panel won't be constantly in trouble. It will fill the gap temporarily until you put the alarm in. Next category is notification. This thing has a ton of different tones, which I really, really like. Let's go out to the garage and test a couple of those tones. I really like the tone selection on this alarm. I think it's a good range of different things. I really, really like that it has a chime tone. I think that's really convenient for medical buildings that install chime strobes instead of horn strobes, because they don't have to buy a separate device in order to meet code. All the tones come in an option of continuous or code 3, besides the whoop, obviously, but I think that's a pretty cool feature. One thing I don't like though is this thing really does not have a lot of volume. I mean, it's loud, but it doesn't have much punch, I should say. It's about as loud as a vacuum cleaner, which isn't that loud. So I'm going to have to give it let's give it a 16 out of 20 for notification. On to design. I really like the design of this alarm. I think it's a very well-crafted device. So as you can see, it's very low profile, and it's very sleek and attractive. One of my favorite features is the little candela window right here, so you can see what candela the alarm is set on, which I think is very convenient. I like the little holding screw in here, and then fire lettering's nice and big, so you can obviously tell that this is a fire alarm, and it's a very small size. I'll get a size comparison here. I have an average size paperback book here, and standing it up to the Commander 3, the Commander 3 is much, much smaller, which is pretty cool. So obviously it's a very tiny little alarm that does a lot. By the way, this is a really great book. You guys should read it. If you do, 5 Wheelove Fire Alarm points for you. I had to work really, really hard to find something I didn't like about this alarm, but I did realize that I don't like this little tab up here. It has a little tab over here, so when you take apart the alarm, you gotta snap this thing under the tab, and as you can see, that tab is very fragile and I have broken it. That is honestly the only complaint in the design section I have for this alarm. So we are going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 for design. I think they did a phenomenal job with the design of this alarm. Unlike some other alarm I know. Ooh, roasted! Judging on the C- I usually get on my math test, I can obviously not do math right now, so there's your final number up on the screen. Proudly sponsored by my phone's calculator. If you want to get a Gentex Commander 3, they're available on Amazon and eBay, usually at a reasonable price. So with that being said, thanks for watching this review, and like the video. Wow. Like the video, leave comments, and of course subscribe to the channel.